Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, and a good morning to you. Sunny, cold morning here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I suspect the same is true in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where my sister's sitting. Hi.
Hi, 17 degrees here.
Oh, well, I guess we're warm compared to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Susan sent me a picture the other day of her dog out in the snow when I was there and broke my leg on the snow and ice. There was a ton of snow, and since then there's been easily another foot?
Another foot to 15 inches, depending on where you were around here.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's beautiful, though. My God.
Absolutely beautiful, dazzling snow. And at night it's
gorgeous.
so clear with this moon that it keeps waking me up. Even it's now a half moon, and it's still so bright it's waking me up.
Why is it? Why is the moon so bright?
It's really bright. And Dog has learned it. It's just funny. He has learned a whole new conversation about where and where not it is permissible to relieve himself in the snowdrifts. It's a real he's looked at me a couple of times in total panic when he has pretty much disappeared in snow. And I had to go in up to, and I wasn't pleased and help him out, so. Now I'm saying, look at that nice snowbank next to the road, and he just sort of backs up into it.
I know it was really a struggle too for Blue, it's rough. I mean, imagine if your bathroom was outdoors in a certain place, and then the snow comes and obliterates it. And, that's rough. Hey, I've got to just say, just in case this happens, it is conceivable my doorbell's going to ring during the show, and I will have to answer it because it's a FedEx thing that I have to sign for. And I've been waiting for this damn thing, and they finally told me it will arrive between 10:30 and 2:30. Well, I'm thinking, well, damn it, because that's during the show, and then after the show, I've got to get to this, another doctor's thingamajig for my foot. So I'm not even going to be here, which means what? They'll have to come back tomorrow, or I have to go pick it up?
They'll come back one more time, and if you still refuse to answer your door, then you have to go get it, or they return it.
Well, what are they thinking? I suppose more people, because of the pandemic, are home now, but, you can't expect a house to have someone in it during the day.
I think that's wonderful that you're getting that kind of a thing from FedEx. In Chicago, what I get is your package will be delivered sometime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
No, they did. That's a nice little window, and I do appreciate that. It just happens that's the window. I'm usually here. It's just the window when I'm here and doing the show, and then when I'm not. So I don't know. It just figures. Whatever. Okay. I just wanted to say that in case that happens, so then I don't have to explain it.
I'll be happy. We'll all be happy if the doorbell rings.
I'll be happy because otherwise I'm going to miss it. I just know. So nobody cares. Oh God. I want to start.
So I'll tell you another happy thing that happened on our if we're listing our trials and tribulations. At 6:30 this morning, I was notified that somebody was trying to get in my basement window in Chicago.
Oh, that's nice.
And then I had to think, do I turn off the alarm and assume that, it's an animal or the wind or a loud sound, which sometimes rattles it, and
so that kind of alert can happen? I mean, you've had that before. Where you've been told.
Downstairs, a big vibration can make things happen.
So
So
So you would
I
assume that that's what it is.
decided, so I thought for a second, do I let it go? Do I let the alarm go and the cops show up? And then I thought, no, turn it off. If there's someone in the house, turn it off, let them in, and then turn the alarm back on so that if they move anywhere in the house, the alarm will go off again because they'll have to hit the stairs. And
there you go.
And when
So
they
that was
hit,
the
and
right
when
thing?
they hit the stairs, the alarm will go off, and then I'll know there's someone in, and then I'll let it go. So
You know,
that's what I did, and apparently there's nobody in the house.
well, I understand. You know, I have to tell you, I am so liberated. Well, I should talk about this stuff. I hate those alarms, and I see so many of my friends now have these, you know, like Ring doorbells. So you're out to dinner with them, and all of a sudden they're, oh, someone's at my door. Oh, it just seems like so, I don't know, so unnecessary.
Well, I don't know. Living in Chicago,
and also it's different for you because you're not there.
I'm not there a lot.
No, I agree. That's different. But a normal person, I mean, I just don't understand. And to have one of those doorbells, unless there's really a good reason for it, not just your simple fear that, you know, that someone's going to try to break into your house when you're not there. I mean, the odds, the risk.
But how can you be a part of your neighborhood spy network if you don't have one?
Well, that's
what happens. If you have a ring, you are invited to join the neighborhood ring. You know.
No, and you are part of a surveillance.
Yeah, I turned it all off.
And I so hate that. I hate it. Knowing
who's at my door.
That I'm being looked. Well,
I like knowing who's at my door before I answer it. That's a safety feature, but that's the only way I use it.
Wow, listen to this. Barbara writes, after a second try from FedEx when I wasn't home, I got a phone call from an actual person and was able to make arrangements to pick up my package at the local Dollar General. Well, that's nice.
That's nice.
Huh. So I'm not. So, thank you, Barbara. I will stop being like anxious about this. So it'll all work out.
Yeah.
Hey, one more personal thing, and then we'll stop and do something that people might actually find interesting. I got a thing. It's called an explanation of benefits. This is not a bill. One of those.
Yeah. From your Medicare provider person.
From my Medicare supplement provider. Yeah. And it's for a 3-month period. And
and how much was this not a bill for?
This is so unfucking. This is all you have to know about how mucked up our way of doing healthcare.
Lynn, did you use $4 million worth of services again?
I did. No, this actually is not for me. Not that big a month here. Not that big a period. Total amount billed $17,475. What?
You precious little jewel. Yes.
Well, I know. Okay. $17,475. And I mean, this doesn't include any of this recent flurry of.
No, that doesn't even include your broken leg.
My broken leg, this eye nonsense, the other foot. No, this is not that. So $17,475. Total amount Medicare approved $1,150. Okay. Billed $17,000 plus. Medicare approved $1,150, and this my supplement paid a whole $582. The next thing is the total amount I might owe, since in fact about $15,000 is still outstanding. Total amount I might owe?
$42.
Zero.
Okay, yeah. No, they're forbidden to charge
please
you.
Explain to me what the fuck is that? Except insanity.
Well, they're forbidden to charge you. It's a negotiated fee that the providers have with Medicare. It's why a lot of doctors don't take Medicare, by the way. But the whole, anybody that thinks, look at your hospital bills, anybody that thinks that any price in medicine is directly attributable to cost or effort is out of their mind, or the price of insulin wouldn't go up and down at the whim of a CEO of Big Pharma.
Yeah, it's just
currently down thanks to the whim of the Big Pharmacy.
Thanks to the pressure of
Biden
of the White House. Yeah, finally. But I mean, just one item on here is the billed amount was $10,000 plus, and the amount Medicare approved, zero.
You weren't supposed to have that.
10,335, and Medicare said, and then my supplement paid them $137.
It was probably
on a 10,000. What the fuck? I'm sorry. This makes me insane. And total, then what I owe, they billed $10,000. They got paid $137, and I don't owe them anything. And I say, this is flat out insanity.
Yeah, it has no relation to reality on any level.
So why go through this absurd?
Because some poor joker somewhere along the line gets to pay the full price. And guess who that is? The uninsured who can't pay the full price.
Who can't? No, but that's, of course, so that's the end game. The only person who would get the bill and have to pay $17,475 is somebody who's so poor they can't afford fucking hell. I'm sorry, I'm saying.
Which, to follow the thread to its logical capitalistic conclusion, is why medical debt is no longer counted in your credit score, so that they can put you in further debt by not counting it.
Oh my God, it's so broken.
So watch your backs, folks. Unfettered capitalism actually isn't in your best interest. It turns out, from the railroads to the, wherever we deregulated, look what happened. From the railroads to the guns to the, and then look where we are choosing to regulate. We are banning books about, black baseball players or slavery because that didn't happen, or the Holocaust because
it's not that it didn't happen. It's
distasteful.
No, you know why? You know why? Because when you talk about the Holocaust, if there's pictures of it, there are sometimes like naked bodies and stuff. That was one of the problems with. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Naked corpses. Or naked people about to be,
killed,
gassed, and I just don't. So as Susan said, watch your backs, and let your ring doorbell. Watch your front, okay?
Watch your pockets.
Oh God. Barbara says, are you willing to share information? Do you have an Advantage plan or Listen, let me tell you something. I don't know what the hell I have. I am so sick of the insanity of the system. I've got whatever I got when I signed up. I don't
I'm willing to share what I have. I have what millions have because it turns out to be, cheap and effective. I get mine through ARP. I think it's and it changes periodically, but it covers.
I have ARP for my drugs, but this is something else. You know what? I don't I don't know. I remember there's a PSA or something that's not a PSA, something on that you see on TV when there's that period when you can change things, which in and of itself is absurd. And then it says something like, if you have Medicare Part A, but Part B, but not C, then you might need D, F, or L. And do you think an average person?
Well, you don't even average. Nobody knows what those are.
Nobody knows.
And they get mad at LBGQ TV. What, honest.
Yeah, I know. It's just, you can have your Medicare Part B, and my eyes are crossing. I tune out. I cannot.
Well, by the way, that's another problem. There are so many times when the default is all caps initials, and I have no idea what these people are talking about anymore. Now it's like just whole sentences of shorthand, and just talk your code someplace else or write it out. I'm old.
Okay. It's only going to get worse.
I know. Well, if I'm stuck behind a license plate, it's one thing. But if I'm, cruising and looking for information and I run into all of these initials, I just get irritated.
Oh, God. All right. So we weren't able. I'm sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I had to yet again.
She was racking up more inexplicable medical bills.
I can't imagine what that one will be. It involves lasers. Wow.
$40 million, but for you, nada.
Nothing. God, dang it. So anyway. So yeah, but everything's fine. Everything's fine. As far as I know.
You sound good. You looked good when I FaceTimed with you yesterday.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've never been better. Well, just fine and dandy. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about?
Nothing now. You were about to introduce a new subject. I felt it in my phone.
Because Monday, yesterday, if I'd done a show, I definitely would have talked about the Oscars because I had watched them.
Yeah, and this is funny because I watched too, and I saw virtually almost none of the movies, and to the extent that I saw some of them, I didn't watch all the way through. So, but I really liked the show. It made me cry. Within the first half an hour, I was crying at these sincere, nice speeches. It just seemed so old school, and the only thing as usual that I'm going to complain about is the naked women. But other than that, it was just fine.
It's unbelievable. I mean, so what is this thing where the style now is
naked?
You just show up naked?
Yeah.
What?
And we show up naked and demand that we not be sexual objects. Now, I don't know if this is aversion therapy or, just getting used to it so you don't sexualize it. But I think it's a mixed message. That's what I think.
Oh, I do too. What the? I'm sorry.
One naked leg prominently thrust out of all these, dresses is now considered, that's old.
That's modest. That is like somebody who's so old-fashioned. Unbelievable. It's like what I loved what Kate Blanchett wore. She was covered from,
Oh, she was gorgeous in that sapphire top and the black draped skirt. Yeah. I thought all the covered ladies were really pretty. I'm turning into, I thought Malala was stunning.
Yeah, she looked very pretty. Yeah.
Nice. That dress was nothing if not, attractive and made her look quite beautiful. That's what clothes do. There was one where a woman had, what is this thing now where you wear this little bra and then there's no clothes until you're, right below your navel. I mean, it's just, you wear something that I guess covers your
areola.
Well, that was the after party. The woman
Vanity Fair.
Yeah,
with the black thing.
No, it was just a feather.
Oh well, that's another one.
Well, and then there Gaga's dress, which from the front, even though it was a corset and it was just basically a bra and a very low dipped skirt, from the back apparently, which I didn't see because apparently they didn't photograph it, her whole butt was exposed behind that black mesh.
Well, there you go.
No wonder people are covering themselves with tattoos because they're walking around naked.
The clothing. Yeah, right. That's the, no ifs, ands, or buts. Just everywhere. I just un-effing believable. Yeah, we do sound like old ladies, but you know what? Guess what? Yeah, guess what? The old ladies are right.
I thought some of the naked dressing was better than others. There was because it's not so naked, it's but right. we've done this for years, but we used to put a sheer covering underneath. So and guess what it was called? Illusion, ladies, illusion.
Well, as the Victorians knew.
When the sight of an ankle could make one swoon. That's what I figured. Yes. Maybe it's just desensitization.
Maybe that is what it is. This is, feminism's end result is all women now just walk around naked, and after a while, men won't even react.
Well, that's sort of what I'm doing with makeup. And by the way, it's working. Well, nobody is reacting.
Yeah, I know.
I am so invisible. It's wonderful.
Well, that was one of the coolest things of the night when Lady Gaga did that extraordinary song with no makeup on. Unbelievable.
Taking off that gorgeous dress with all that bright red makeup and heavy eye makeup and eyelashes. And
can you imagine how quick that would have had to have been done?
Maybe it was just a mask.
She was in the audience. And then I would imagine she got made up again a little bit to come back. I have no idea. But the one thing I did want to, there was something that, I saw during certain shots that made me go berserk. And the first person I talked to after the show, a friend, she brought it up too. So I thought, so I'm not alone. And I know you reacted to it too. And in fact, the whole world's reacted to it. And we're talking about the woman who I know who she is, who was seated in the audience quite close to the stage because in fact, she had been nominated for Best Original Song. Wearing this beautiful woman, but wearing this like white tulle. Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Tulle, that kind of thing. This white tulle kind of thing that around her head, and I mean, I'm talking around her head like with what? A foot high, on all sides. It was like she had this huge, anyway, to see her in the audience, and believe me, you couldn't help but see her. It just, that thing just like,
it's too bad if you're sitting behind her. Right.
But even if you were, but she if you were sitting behind her, you could see
nothing.
And in fact, they said it actually obstructed the view of people even two other rows back. Nobody, I mean, it totally obstructed the view of about 4, 5, 6 people. Okay. And here's the thing. So who is her name is Thames, all capital letters. She's a singer and songwriter, and she, I guess, wrote the song that was nominated from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of thoughts about this. One,
it's rude.
Yes, that's the first one. Again, Listen to the old ladies. That is so fucking inconsiderate. My God. Yes, you're beautiful. It looks beautiful, and you can wear it going in. Then you take that thing off so that people behind you can actually see the show, right? But here's the other thing. She didn't do that. And she knew this. So it was absolutely, this had to have been very carefully thought out. This is someone who is playing the game. And the game that exists is, how do I draw attention to myself and have everybody talking about me so that I...
For good or ill, because it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. And that's the game she played by wearing that, knowingly, clearly, she knew, and won. Because I, who never heard of Tim's, now have. I said her name twice. We're talking about her.
And by the way, she's beautiful, and she looked beautiful.
She's gorgeous. And this is the calculation now that people make in order to break out of the mass, to be seen. And God, it's pathetic. It's really just pathetic. Do you think the people behind her, if you were behind her, would you not have said, tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, could you just pull that down, please? I can't see a thing." I can't believe somebody would.
Well, if I were sitting directly behind her and it was clear that she intended to keep that thing up, that's when my foot would have started hitting the back of her chair.
Oh, we could have had, and everybody said this was an Oscars where nothing went awry. You could have created something that went awry.
I could start throwing candy wrappers up in it.
A fight broke out. I don't know. God.
Well, the likes of me ain't invited. I wonder why. But in spite of all of those shenanigans, the hard, Jamie Lee Curtis's speech was wonderful. The guy from Everything, that's another
one. All at once.
Right, and that's another one that they do by. That's what they do with initials for that one too. And
you know what though? I want to say this. I had this list, and it won't come up on my damn computer, of all the nominated for Best Picture from 70 something on.
Yeah.
And how often now with time in between, you see that the wrong picture won. The wrong picture won. The one that is obviously still considered exceptional over year after year after year don't win. And
it just shows that if you make the best movie ever and it doesn't win, it still gets recognized as the best movie ever.
You don't need the Oscar, because in fact some of the ones that never won are now are in the top 10 of all of movies ever made. Right. But I got to tell you, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
You didn't like it.
No, it's going to be one of those that would be that is not going to be seen as a great movie.
No. Well, I'm just going to say that in my unofficial poll, and it spans generations, I have yet to talk to one person that actually liked it.
Oh, I know some. I begrudgingly liked it. I was so confused through much of it, but I sat it out, and if I had the energy, I'd go back and watch it again, but I don't. It was just, I know somebody who did watch it twice, trying to understand it, and then just says, "I still don't understand what the hell's going on in that movie." And younger people do, because it's a it's my son who told me about it.
Oh yeah, I know.
And he loved it. I mean, he said there's this great movie. So I watched it and thought it was so long and so incomprehensible, so obviously well done, such good acting I could see, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't get it.
I was just wanted to underline that we're old ladies.
Welcome to the Old Lady Hour.
You know, and I don't feel that way. I don't mostly act that way, but damned, there's my brain for you.
Okay. I have to, here's, oh man, this depressed me. Pat Schroeder died. Now, a lot of you know who she is. Pat Schroeder was a trailblazing woman in American politics. And and she died at she's 80, she was
83, I think 83.
82 it says here.
Okay. Sorry.
When she went off to DC, she was one of only, I'm trying to find the number. She was one of just 14 women in the House of Representatives. Think of that. It was a sea of men.
Of white men.
Of white men. And the crap she took is beyond belief. She was asked, how, as a mother of 2 young children, are you going to be able to handle this difficult job that's a man's job and be a mother? And she said, I have a brain and I have a uterus and I use both. She was a tough cookie. She called the House the guy gulag. And this is the thing that she wrote that I couldn't even believe was true, but it's true. She suffered incredible antagonism because she was the first woman to ever sit on the Armed Services Committee. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee, a Louisiana Democrat, F. Edward Hebert, at the first committee hearing she went to, 1973, this is hard to believe, he made her share a chair with Representative Ron Dellums, a black man. This son of a bitch, white Southern Democrat at the time. He
deemed each of them a half person.
Yes, that's right. And she said we had to sit cheek to cheek. And she said she remembers Hebert saying, because women and blacks were worth only half of one regular member. Can you even?
Well, yeah, and I mean, I not only believe it, but I'm willing to bet we're going to hear something like that, real soon.
Yeah, okay. She was so well known she is responsible for so much of the progress made of women in the military. She was behind, she badgered the Air Force into finally allowing women to fly fighter jets. She was absolutely an extraordinary force, and she was very witty. So Dan Quayle, the vice president, he said this about him. He thinks that Roe versus Wade are 2 ways to cross the Potomac.
Right.
And then showing that nothing really has changed. She said this: the genius of Republicans has been how they figured out how to so polarize us that we vote against our own best interests. Incredible.
Yeah.
And then, you know what she's remembered for, though?
No. Not any of that?
No. Nope. She toyed with running for president.
Right.
And then decided against it. And when she announced that she had decided not to run, she was there, standing there with her husband and all that kind of stuff. And the crowd, like, just groaned. Everyone had thought she was going to run. And she was startled to realize how much she really did want to run. And she began to cry. She said, I had underestimated how much I wanted to pursue the presidency. I went on with the speech, but it was my tears, not my words, that got the headlines. And it's true.
Yeah, girl cried.
Yeah, that's right. Girl cried. Those 17 seconds, she says, were treated like a total breakdown. And listen to this. I remember this. She got pounced on by every sexist saying, "See,
can't
have women. They can't handle it. They're too emotional." And she got jumped on by the people she'd been lifting up, by feminists. Female columnists said, "She's ruined the chance for any woman to run for president for the rest of the century."
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Well, you know, feminism had to evolve too, but...
Unbelievable. So,
and by the way, women have always been women's own worst enemies.
Well, I think that's true too. But wow. She is responsible for the Family Leave Act. She's responsible for the first female fighter pilots, which I said before. She was a force. She herself was a pilot and a Harvard lawyer. Oh, okay. And yeah, so it was 1993, and she was the force that for the Family and Medical Leave Act, which of course guaranteed both women and men up to 18 weeks of unpaid, that's the best we could do, of unpaid leave to care for a family member, which is what other countries, they pay, because how many people can afford not to be paid for 18 weeks?
And the reality of it was that it didn't actually do anything.
Yeah. Well, no, it did.
I mean, it did, but I mean, not in small businesses, not for the average Joe.
No, because in this country, you can't do that kind of. We don't ever help families and women. Never. And this goes right into what Pence said about Buttigieg. Did you see that?
I heard that he said something. I didn't hear what he said. What did he say? I know that Biden told him to apologize. What did he say?
Okay, so he's going. It was at the Gridiron dinner where
he said so much.
So he said this. He's talking about Buttigieg. He says he took. This is Pence, who's supposedly the nice guy, right? He took 2 months maternity leave, whereupon thousands of travelers were stranded in airports. The air traffic system shut down, and airplanes nearly collided on our runways.
Oh, right, because he's honest.
Because he took maternity leave, right?
Right.
And then he said, Pete is the only person in human history to have a child and everyone else gets postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and here's Tucker Carlson. Pete Buttigieg has been on leave from his job since August after adopting a child. Paternity leave, they call it. Trying to figure out how to breastfeed. No word on how that went for him.
This is just so awful. I mean, don't quote Tucker Carlson to me, because there's nothing that comes out of his mouth that isn't either a lie or mean, or both.
Or both. Okay, so here's just one more about the. This was in the Wall Street Journal. This is an opinion piece written by some jerk named Andy Kessler. Okay, talking about the Silicon Valley Bank failure.
Oh, is this the guy that blames it on
Yeah. Essentially, yes. So listen to this. He says, was there regulatory failure? Perhaps. The bank was regulated like a bank, but looked more like a money market fund. Then there's this. In its proxy statement, the bank notes that besides 91% of their board being independent, and I don't know what that means, being independent, and 45% women, they also have one black, one LGBTQ plus, and 2 veterans.
Well, maybe independent means that they don't subscribe to being a woman or an LGBT.
No, I don't think it. I mean, like, and then he says, I'm not saying 12 white men would have avoided this mess. But the company may have been distracted by diversity demands. Okay. So none of those people, by definition of being who they are actually qualified to be there. And by virtue of being a white male, one would at least have a fighting chance. That's the import of the statement. The import is that if you're desperately looking for black people who could, make not be a total embarrassment serving on the board, or women or gay people, just so you can be, woke and show your diversity, because they were obviously struggling so much with that, the bank failed around them. No, the bank failed around them because nobody paid the least bit of interest in basic banking investment principles, which is where you're supposed to diversify. And they didn't. And they put way too much money in the wrong thing and lost their bet. I mean, which a bank should never do. And the same thing with the other one that's a crypto bank, and all their eggs are in one basket. And there used to be much more stringent regulation. Make no mistake. And we went in after the large big failure, and then when everything gets fixed by the Democrats, the Republicans come back in power and take away the regulations that were installed, and now trains are crashing, and banks are failing. Banks are crashing. And you have, been so mean to all workers that aren't good people sitting in control towers anymore either. And that's all on Republicans. Sorry. No, but see, they take away all the regulation. Well, it takes a few years for everything to crumble. That's right, to crumble. And then Democrats are in office trying desperately to clean up the mess. And then we clean it up. And then they get blamed for all the stuff happening because of what Republicans did 2 years before. Right. It's just, Unbelievable.
And it's not like this is the first time this has happened. I mean, in my lifetime, in my lifetime, it is such a regular cycle that it's a joke. Yeah. And that the fact that the people that are still voting don't notice that all hell breaks loose every time their people get in power. I mean, and yeah.
All right, I know, Suze.
I need to do Pilates. You know, I'm boxing twice a week now. Let that say its own thing.
Okay, whatever you have to do. Did you happen to see this story in the New York Times? I think it was yesterday, about this unbelievably repulsive law professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Amy Wax is her name. I can tell you didn't see it. I happened once to see a clip of her being interviewed by somebody, and what she said was so outrageous that I was gab-smacked, Susan.
I know. You get gab-smacked a lot.
A lot. I do. I get. Yeah. So let me tell you, she's a tenured professor of law at Penn. Of
law. Okay.
Of law. And she is an out-and-out racist, homophobe. She's unbelievable. Let's see. Anyway, so because she's tenured, the dean of the law school has been under pressure for a decade to get her out of here. I mean, her colleagues are embarrassed by her.
They can get rid of her for cause.
Well, yeah, but so the article is about that she is so, well, free speech groups.
Of course.
Well, yeah. They take her side. They say what she says is loathsome. But here are two quotes about this. Academic freedom cannot be a privilege of those who only espouse prevailing views. It has to be a protected right of all faculty. And, when I was asked to be on the board of the ACLU, I said to the guy, I don't always agree with you guys. Some of where you end up makes me insane. And he said, well, yes, of course. He said, would you say you agree with us 75% of the time? And I said, yeah. He said, good. That's all we need. But they are an absolutist. That's it. And here's another absolutist saying, academic freedom has to protect the Amy Waxes of the academic world so that it can be there for the Galileos. And in a way, I do understand that. Once you start getting rid of people for what they say. But here's the thing. Here's what she said on a recent podcast. I often chuckle at the ads on television, which show a black man married to a white woman in an upper-class picket fence house. They never show blacks the way they really are. A bunch of single moms with a bunch of guys who float in and out, kids by different men. I mean, that is how blatantly racist she is.
Well, does anyone take her class at the school?
Yeah, some and students, gay students have, black students have, and they have reported back to the dean that they have felt she does not think they're really capable. So imagine if she's grading you and you're black, she doesn't think. There was one girl in her class who had been to Harvard, graduate of Harvard, and she was then Penn Law. And she said she was just treated with contempt. According to one complaint, a series of students with foreign-sounding names introduced themselves to her, and one finally had a name like Smith, and Professor Wax said, "Finally, an American."
Well, free speech is not all that free. I mean, she's not allowed to discriminate amongst students. It doesn't give her that freedom.
Well, what's happened is the dean is finally starting to move to get rid of her, and he said that she has shown callous and flagrant disregard for students, faculty, and staff, subjecting them to intentional and incessant racist, sexist, xenophobic, and homophobic actions and statements. I mean, she's a sexist, too. She thinks that men are better than women.
Right, only she. She's like,
only she, yeah. She's like, yeah, I know what you were going to say. What's her name?
Yeah. May she rest in all the peace she deserves.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Why are we blanking on her
Schlafly.
name?
Phyllis Schlafly.
Schlafly.
That you know how I had to remember it? By the beer. There's the liberal side of her family makes beer.
Okay.
And she tried to stop him from using his name.
God.
She who married into the Schlafly name tried to stop a natural-born Schlafly from using his name in association with his beer, and she lost.
Okay, Professor Wax, she has described some non-Western countries as shitholes and stated that women, on average, are less knowledgeable than men. She has also said this: American blacks and people from non-Western countries feel shame for the outsized achievements and contributions of Western people.
Half of which was stolen from the likes of us. And
she is loathsome. Unbelievable.
Well, worst case, he just puts her in her closet and pays her to look at the shelves. He doesn't have to guarantee her an audience. Tenure doesn't do that.
Or you mean a class? She doesn't get to teach a class?
Yeah.
I think they should shut the bitch up. Well, but see, then that just, cancel culture.
You can't shut her up. You can stop subjecting students to her. That you can do. And that you should do. Because she has demonstrated she has no intent to be fair or unbiased in the way she teaches, which is required of her. She can say whatever she wants, but she is not demonstrably doing her job in the way she is required to do it. For that reason, I would remove her for cause. She can say whatever she wants, but she can't act towards students in the way she's been doing within the terms of any teaching contract I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. God. Did you hear of this show? Again, this is another indication of how disgusting our culture is. At Christmas, there's always this show where they make it a nasty, to me, competition of who has the best Christmas decorations.
Who does the best lights, the best cake, the best whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything has to be a competition. There always has to be one winner, and everybody else is a loser. I happened upon this show and couldn't believe what I was seeing. The parent test.
Oh, no. Well, we all fail, and that's how you know you're a good parent.
This show has couples, parents on, and they all represent different types of parenting. This is a reality show on ABC, and it is mind mind-boggling. So there are 12 families. Some of them have, really traditional kinds of ways of raising their kids. Others are, here are the different styles. They fit them into these categories: intensive, high achievement, disciplined, free range, helicopter, child-led, negotiation, traditional, strict, new age, whatever. And then they put their kids in situations to see how they respond. And then they critique the hell out of some of the parents are breaking down in tears. It is the most disgusting show I have ever seen. I just can't believe how we keep pitting people against each other.
Well, why are these people willing to be thusly pitted, one wonders?
Suze, why did the woman wear that white tulle cloud to the Academy Awards? Because the everybody wants to be on TV. Yeah. It's just mind-blowing. Check it out if you just want to be just check it out so you can be appalled. Oh,
there are so many things that people want me to watch just so I can be appalled. I watch my own appalling stuff.
Yeah, you do, and I mean, but you like reality shows. But
no, I almost basically I just watch HGTV.
Home ones.
Yeah, the home ones now.
But those are in their own. They have their own thing. But at least it's not there are winners and losers as much.
No, they pit designers against each other.
I know. That's right.
That's
there
different.
Are some that are like that, but it just doesn't seem as cruel.
No, they're professionals, and everybody's doing well. It's just a matter of and the one that I would watch is who ends up selling for more. So if there's an actual
Well, I think that the Atlantic, the magazine, ran a piece about this show by a woman named Lydia Kiesling, wrote it, and she just flat out was so freaked about it. And she says it reinforces this view that every family is sort of isolated and being judged, and they should be fearful all the time. It's just, and people do. I can imagine people watch this. You think, gullible folk don't watch it and think that they're learning how to parent their own children? Oh.
All I know is how I've watched my kids parent. And I will say this, they all read a whole lot more books about it than I did.
Well, I didn't believe in reading books. I
just sort of waded in. I had a reference, for the early years about, what to expect and what not to worry about. That I had, but it was a pretty clinical reference. I was married to a doctor, and I think we raised our kids the way we were raised, which is pretty much free range.
Right. And that's what I did too. We raised our kids like we were raised, which is, all right, goodbye.
You call me if you need me, right? Okay.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I will stick to that as preferable to the overly involved parenting of today. I cannot stomach it. It's like, if to be a parent means you are literally tied to these children of yours, it can't help but make the children think they're more important than they are. Can't be good.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't think it can be. And I don't know. What do I know? The thing is, here's what we know. 99% of parents screw up.
Right. I mean, to me, the only way you fail the test is if you never make a mistake, that you're doing something wrong.
Oh, Jonathan, he says, you and Susan said Gab smocked. instead of gobsmacked. And frankly, it left me gobsmacked that you did. Well, Jonathan, I just want to say that you apparently missed the show. You missed the show in which I still can't believe it. I was babbling, and Susan was on, and she interrupted me and said, "You said gabsmack." And I said, "I did not." And she said, and I never went back to look, but I
did.
But then I did know.
Yes.
Other people wrote in and said, you said gabsmack.
I got to tell you guys, I am always so grateful when you write in and second my whatever I'm yelling at Lynn about. And she dutifully passes those things along. So I
do.
But it does warm the cockles of my heart when you chime in on my side. Because it's not so easy to win an argument against Lynn.
So these, I gotta tell you, So now we're both saying gabsmack.
Now
we should stop.
Now we'll stop. But we're just making fun of ourselves. Okay.
Yes. So Jonathan would get that. He's a friend. Hey, I came upon this quote. Oh God, we're out of time.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
We took to
and the doorbell
again?
didn't ring.
Your doorbell didn't ring. No, the anxiety continues.
Well, yeah. So it'll ring when I leave to go.
Right. The anxiety continues.
The foot brace thing, jiggy, which will add to my medical bill. Yes. We're trying for 3 figures this year. Seriously.
Go for 3. Okay.
Okay. And Susan, this is
what?
I write the check. Apropos of our conversation last night.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for checking.
I'll send it to the house.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, you guys. Bye. I gotta leave my house so that the FedEx man can come and try to make a delivery. Okay. Thank you very much. I should be here tomorrow. Although who the hell knows?
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.